It's the most depressing time of the year.
Seasonal depression.
That's my contribution.
Yeah. Where's the fanfare?
Well, you know what? A great way to cure that kind of seasonal depression and anxiety is football. And, you know, the way that teams get hyped and come into a game, it's the way that we should come in to doing a show, which is, you know, these crazy tunnel entrances, running out of the tunnel, getting hyped, and had 2 great entries to tunnel entrances this past weekend in college football. Scott Elliott's territory right here. And I want to give you 2 roaring tunnel entrances here between Brett Venables of Oklahoma running out of the tunnel in an absolute nightmare scenario, and then Greg Knox of Mississippi State. So you tell me which is the better tunnel entrance here as we do play-by-play of Brett Venables coming out, and then boom, already down.
I was rolling when I saw this one. So funny.
Nobody stopped. And I guess you can't stop?
No. I mean, you got to think about it. You have the whole squad running behind you, and, like, nobody knows what's going on, especially with all that smoke. So it's like, you can't stop.
Is there
He's got padding on. They do fumble drills. He'll be fine.
It's also Brent Venables. Like, you can't kill him. Look, there he is. There he is. Look, he's stronger than him. Actually.
I mean, at that point, if you're Brett Venables, all you can do is, like, just get in the fetal position and just try to roll to either side. Just try to roll out the way.
And 94 had a GoPro, too. I would love to see that footage of it.
That wouldn't happen at Clemson when he was there.
He went full young Simba in that moment.
So you have that one, and then you have Greg Knox, the interim head coach from Mississippi State.
I'm sorry. Really quick. Because as soon as he said that, all I imagined was the Mufasa scene, and Brent Venables getting trampled by all these teams. And then you have the OC up in the press box. And you know it does that dramatic zoom in onto Simba's face on the ridge? That's what happens. It zooms into the OC in Oklahoma, just freaking out. Get up. Get up.
94 was saying to him. It's 94 is just like priceless look back to just like it's like okay.
Gotta commit.
Okay.
Whoops.
I got the GoPro. I gotta keep going, coach. I'm sorry. Well, Greg Knox, the interim head coach of Mississippi State, he had a little bit more of a successful entrance, even though it was different from what you'd usually get.
Out onto the field tonight and give him a little juice. Cole is with the interim head coach.
Coach Knox, nothing is normal about the Egg Bowl. Why are you bringing the team out on this four-wheeler?
This is about handling adversity, opposition. When you face things that's tough in life, this is a life lesson, right? And this is what we learned, right, in 11 days I've been here. This is a life lesson.
And that it is. He told me pregame he'd only ridden a four-wheeler once before. That was in the locker room before the game last week. So we get to ride along with Greg Knox as he leads these Bulldogs on the field in the 120th version of the Egg Bowl. Cole nailed it. There is nothing normal about this game that is quintessential college football. Kickoff from Starkville is next, and now a look inside Nissan's.
Why did he go that way?
It was a life lesson. You never know which way life is going to go, Zoo. That's what it is. You don't know which way it's going to go. Knox and Mississippi State, by the way, they lost 17-7 after that.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
See, you knew that it was going to come close to hitting a band member when you look to the left. He starts going off screen. He does like the whole stutter, start and stop. But like it would have been so much more impactful if after he gave that little bit of a speech, if he just gripped it and just flew out of the tunnel on there. That would have been so sick.
Runs over Brent Venables.
Brent Venables is so much better, though. I'm sorry. It's so much better.
That's how we're going to come out from now on. We're going to come out and we're just going to be We're going to be hyped for this show. And then we just get like trampled by like Pat McAfee or or even like
be sleepwalking with a blankie.
Zoo is the one with the GoPro who's just like looks
Oh, because I'm a photographer, Reid?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one else more qualified than you at this point.
I don't know how you all feel about the Bills and what happened this past week against Philly in an overtime loss where we've called them frauds, Scott, and like, they played their ass off against Philly while they can, simultaneously get close to losing 2 to the New York Jets. What happens with the Buffalo Bills now is there's reports that Sean McDermott could get fired, but also reports saying that there's zero chance he gets fired, being the person who's gotten to them to this point. To me, it feels a little bit like Tony Dungy's situation back when he was in Tampa Bay. Like he just can't, get through that window. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Bills?
I think they've had a good start with getting rid of OC Ken Dorsey. I think that's probably the more logical move. I don't see them firing McDermott just for this. I mean, the rest of their season's going to be very difficult. I mean, they got the Chiefs, Cowboys, on the road against the Chargers, at home against the Patriots, and then on the road against the Dolphins. At best, I could see them getting the Chargers-Patriots wins. But going on the road in Kansas City, and you're at home against the Cowboys who are sneaking up on everyone, and then you finish the season in Miami, it doesn't look good for the Bills for the rest of the season.
Would you want to put money on the Bills making a good run here anywhere near the end zoo?
I'm not sure if it'll be much of a run. Like we kind of said before the season even started, like this is kind of the year that they're going to take a step back. I feel like maybe in the first round they'll put up a fight against whatever team they go against, but I don't see it looking too hot. And also like their cap situation is like dog shit for next year too. So I think it's going to be like a real retool situation, if not reboot. They're going to have to get rid of a lot of those pieces and really rely on the draft. See how many trades happen from them in the offseason.
I mean, there's always been talks about Stephon Diggs. It's like it seems like it's been consistent for 2 years now of Stephon Diggs getting moved trades. And then if that happens, look how many more Gabe Davis games we can get. Like the one that we just got, those random Gabe Davis games.
Well, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because they're positioned right now to be a mid first round, like the 15 to 20 range. And there's plenty of stud wide receivers coming out in the draft. I mean, Stephon Diggs, how old is he? He's
29.
Right. He's 29. Yeah, he's 29. He got drafted in 2015.
Siri, how old is Stephon Diggs?
Stephon Diggs is 30 years old.
Thank you, Siri.
His birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Stephon.
Hey, well, happy birthday.
Too bad you couldn't celebrate with Von Miller.
That time.
But no, but like they already got Gabe Davis there, who he'll never be a number one. He'll always be a second or third wide receiver. But now would be the time to cash in on Stephon Diggs. You can still get some decent pieces from him. And he already expressed his dissatisfaction about being in Buffalo for whatever reason. So I would say just do a mutual parting of the ways, get what you can get from him, and then just retool in the draft.
I wanted to get you guys' thoughts because, Scott, I think we talked off the air a little bit about it before College Shame Day last week. We didn't really have time to get to it. And, Zoo, I'd like your thoughts. I know you have thoughts on this, of Tom Brady and how he described the NFL right now. He's already just not even a year into retirement, and he's already the old player talking about back in my day and yelling at clouds. This is what he had to say about the current state of the NFL when he was on the Stephen A. Smith show.
There's a lot of mediocrity in today's NFL. Yeah. I don't see the excellence that I saw in the past.
Why not?
And
why not?
I think the coaching isn't as good as it was. I don't think the development of young players is as good as it was. The rules have allowed a lot of bad habits to get into the actual performance of the game. Mm-hmm. So I just think the product, in my opinion, is less than what it's been. I look at a lot of players like Ray Lewis and Rodney Harrison and Ronnie Lott and guys that impacted the game in a certain way, and every hit they would have made would have been a penalty.
I just realized Stephen A. Smith has our colors. He stole our colors.
These are copyrighted.
I know they are. Purple and orange, that's our shit.
Let's go shake them down.
But Brady talking about the current mediocrity of the NFL when he was, I would argue, also a part of that. I mean, he's
2 years removed. He's not even. He's just played.
He's not even a year removed. He was
right.
just a playoff game in January.
Like, what the
So we can get into those thoughts first if you want, but Alex Smith, who is now doing coverage as part of Monday Night Football on ESPN during their pregame, had some thoughts, and he took a pretty great shot at Brady and pretty much everybody else at the table of Rex Ryan, Teddy Bruschi, and and Randy Moss.
You've been in his position, retiring and then watching the game from a distance. Do you agree with Tom Brady?
I mean, a lot here, Sam. Listen, first off, let me just preface this. I love Tom to go, but
You don't need to say that.
But-
you need to say it. Just get him.
first off, he hasn't been retired that long. He was just playing. Like, he just won a Super Bowl in the current game. Like, is he discounting that one? And then my biggest complaint with this, and no offense to you guys, well, all three of you guys, he played in the most uncompetitive division, I think, in NFL history. I mean, you come out of training camp, the biggest cupcake division, you got a ticket to the playoffs right away. Like, talk about mediocre. Like, I completely disagree with this. I know he's referencing the rule changes over the middle to the receiver, but in my opinion, I think the game's gotten better. There's more parity across the league. Quarterback play is at an all-time high, I think, across the league. Like, the best, you've got the best athletes playing the position. We didn't have this 30, 40 years ago. And then I also, listen, he's referencing also that offense is down, right? Like the numbers this year. To me, I kind of think we're in a golden age of D linemen.
Now, I think Alex Smith made a lot of great points there, Zoo, and I'd like your thoughts on both sides of how you feel. But in fairness, just in fairness and a little hindsight, what followed Alex Smith's comments was third-string phenom for the Vikings, Josh Dobbs, throwing 4 interceptions against a Bears team that beat him without scoring a touchdown, and Troy Aikman responding to the game being announced as over with a thankfully. So, any thoughts on the current state of the NFL, Zoo?
Hey, Alex Smith beat the Niners with Ben DiNucci in the same way. There wasn't a single offensive touchdown that game. There's 2
Ben
defensive touchdowns and a
DiNucci.
couple field goals.
He willed it.
We actually called the whole D-line thing earlier this year when we had this conversation talking about how that's like the cream of the crop now because there's so much emphasis going to quarterbacks and this and that you're just trying to disrupt them as much as possible to give your defense a chance. So yes, I do agree that having a strong D-line is a factor. I agree with Alex there. I agree with Tom with the perspective that I think a lot of the rookies are getting thrown out a little too early without a little bit of guidance. And I mean, we're talking about like Tom Brady had to sit behind somebody for a while. Patrick Mahomes was sitting behind Alex Smith for a while. So I think there is a point of like, you need to have veteran presence. You need to let, people sit for a while, but having offensive rookie and defensive rookie awards are a thing. So people are just trying to do things, even if it derails from what the system is and takes away from the wins. So it's a mixed bunch. Like, I see where Tom is coming from, but it's also a result of just how the rules have changed. Like, they just want the NFL to be a scoring thing. Like, the people who care about defensive games don't matter anymore. So it really is a mix of it all. Like, I do think these players are getting this sense of entitlement that the NBA has that I've made very clear that I hate. And but it is balanced with just like how many times do we see a play every week where it's just kind of like, man, the refs fucked up. Like, the dude barely got touched and it was like roughing the passer, or the little handsy here and there, and then pass interference. Like, most of these games are being won or lost by just bad calls, and that's hard to look past.
You make a lot of great points with that, and what you said about how we called it with the defense, the defensive golden age that it is right now. And I mean, you're watching games over the weekend and it's crazy to see. Like, I've been hyping up Max Crosby for weeks. I have been loving him. I have thought he has been awesome to watch this year. And you can't even really throw him at like the top. Like, you're expecting quarterbacks to be, top-notch Tom Brady level when you're going up against Max Crosby, who's like maybe like I don't even know if he's in the top 5 of current pass rushers. When you have Micah Parsons causing absolute chaos, you have Myles Garrett with a bum shoulder causing chaos. TJ Watt is one of the most insane players right now. Nick Bosa,
Von
even
Miller's causing chaos off the field.
we go back, yeah. Nick Bosa in San Francisco, now paired with Chase Young, and watching that really kind of annihilate the Seahawks O-line last week. I mean, Joey Bosa is fucking great, and you don't even really talk about him. So it is a wild air, and I think where Brady kind of lost me, Scott, is not only the thought about how he was just playing 11 months ago, but also when you're citing players like Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and Ronnie Lott, like it's why these great players I don't think ever make great coaches, because they can't really see why other players, why your mid-tier to, kind of upper tier players aren't as great as you. He's comparing everybody to some of the greatest defensive players of all time.
It's the boomer paradox. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like you're comparing if you put
Tell us about your people.
Well, no, it's like I think the biggest thing it's the parity discussion. I think if you were to take, say, Nick Bosa from now and you put him in a time machine 20 years ago into the early 2000s, he would be crushing people. Yeah, his size might not be comparable to some of like those bigger defensive linemen and some of the bigger offensive linemen, but the sheer speed that these guys have at the same exact time. I mean, look at Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald by no means is a tall dude.
Yeah.
But he's still one of the most prolific and might go down as the greatest defensive player in NFL history. You take him, throw him in the 60s. What's he going to do?
Get thrown in jail.
Right.
No, get rid of him.
Well, and I think with Tom Brady, like he would.
I was going to say the 60s, you want to throw Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa. Oh, the Bosas. Oh, they would be. Oh my God. In the 60s, they would be revered.
Right. They didn't go down to the greatest. But like
Mount Rushmore.
But it's every generation of, and this spans all professional sports. It's not just centered in football, but every generation of athlete always feels like they were the better at that point in time. You see it in basketball, especially because people will say that the 80s were the greatest time, or they'll say the 90s was the greatest time. They'll have like their kind of back and forth kind of banter about it. But no, Tom Brady, he just played last year, and now he's saying that he played against nobodies. But in reality, the talent level that's playing right now, you didn't see consistently enough in those early 2000s eras that he was bringing up as a rookie.